So far what we have seen is this is the main window of Visual Studio, and from file you can go to new and open a project. And when you click on project here, you have to select VB, that is Visual Basic, from the first drop down where my arrow is right now. Okay, so if I go here and select VB, that is Visual Basic, and you can see .NET Framework and Applications. So right now we will see it's all platform, and here we have to go to all project types. So you will see ASP.NET Web Application, right? That is what we have selected for now. Once you click on next, it will create a new project and it will save it. So that's what we have seen till now. Now how to open a project? We go to open and go here in project and solution, and this is the last one we have done. So let me open this file. This is the project file. Okay, this includes everything. It includes solution, it also includes the coding part and the window, the application window that you have made. So always open the project file so you get everything at once. Now once I double click on this, you can see the solution explorer here, right? And this is your form designer. So if you see, all the things are available here, right? And if I go to form1.vb, so this is your actual form window where you see what is the box. So what is the box here? Let's see. What kind of boxes do we have? Text box, right? So this is your text box here. Then you have label. So this is your label, and this is the label that we have put, enter num1, enter num2. So we have two boxes and two labels. Oh, sorry, I need to remove this. Okay. And then one button we have added. So from the toolbox you can also add a button. So we have added a button called add, and this is where we do all the programming. And we have also seen how to change the name of the box, or basically the label, right? So I'm just going to undo this now. If I select enter num1, on the right side you can see this is where you can change the name of the box and also the text color. So you can change the color of the text from here. We are keeping it black as of now. Okay, now there is no coding required for this and this box because you are only entering the data. So the coding is basically required for this box, which is giving you the result. I'm going to double click on this so we can go to the code window. Okay, now this is your code window where this is your button click, right? And when you say button click, this is the whole code is for button click. So what is it giving us? It is giving us the sum. The sum is, that is the output. How does it get the output? It is using sum equal to value in text box 1 dot text, which is the command or code for getting the value from text box 1 plus value in the text box 2 dot text. So again we are getting the second box's value here. So we are getting the two values and then storing it in a variable called sum, which is giving us the output, right? So this is how your code looks. Now it is going through if else and then end if. That is the whole cycle that is there. So you have text box 1 equal to is numeric. So it is checking that it should be numeric. Whatever value you enter, it should be numeric. If not, if the condition is false, if you enter any character or alphabet instead of numbers, then it will show you the message, please enter a numeric value. If it is numeric and it is false again, if it is not true, then again it will show please enter. So this is for two boxes, text box 1 and text box 2, right? So this is your text box 1 and this is your text box 2. So this is your condition. Now here we have conditions set for both the things, and then we have the sum. So dim sum, this is declaring your variable sum as integer, and the default value is stored as 0, because if you don't store it as 0, it can pick up any random value and show it. So that is one of the things in programming. If you are declaring a variable and if it is not set to an initial value, then it might pick up a random value, right? So always try to initialize it with 0, that is give a fixed value 0, and then when you are calculating, again this 0 will be replaced with the addition of these two things. Okay, so this is how it works. This is the declaration of variable. If you have learned small basic, there you just declare the variable as int or float, or in C or C++. Here it is dim. dim sum as integer. So you are declaring an integer sum which will store the addition of these two numbers and show it here. Messagebox.show is for showing the output, right? And here it is ending. So if you scroll down now, this is just a label and nothing else here. So end of class means end of program. Your whole class starts from here, public class form1. So your form1 is actually created on a class, right? And here you have the public information in which you have the object and event arguments, which are the values that you are passing, the numbers that you are putting in text box 1 and text box 2. So event args is for event arguments, which is the values that you are passing on an event. What is the event? Clicking on text box 1 or clicking on text box 2 and giving them the values. That is how the whole thing works. Okay, so the first line here is sending object and event arguments, and this is the private subclass which is for label 1. Okay, so label 1 and form 1, this is the whole form, this is only the label, right? So on the label you don't need to send any arguments, that is okay. And when you come to this part, button click, then you have you only have one button, so it will say button 1 click. So button 1, again it is passing arguments which are taken here when you click on the form and enter the values in text box 1 and text box 2, and it is sending to the sum to add it, right? So here again arguments are passed. So wherever it says event args, it is passing the values taken from those two boxes to this sum integer, right? And then it is storing it, the addition, storing it in sum and then showing it here. So this is how the whole code works. Now if you come back here, we have already done the coding part, you have seen the coding part here, right? So now if you click on debug and start debugging, it will only check for errors, it will not actually run the program. Okay, so if I click on start debugging or I press F5, it's one and the same. Okay, so this is your program, right? And here you enter, let's say, two numbers, 15 and 28, just random numbers, and add. So it will say sum is 43. So it is giving you the number, the sum that is there for 15 plus 28, perfectly fine, no problem at all. So we have just seen how to add text box and label and button and change the code of the button so that we can get sum to be displayed. Okay, that's one part. Now in the next part, that is chapter 8, we will see some more tools from the toolbox. So the tools we will see from the toolbox in the next chapter is picture box. That is one of the things. So how to add a picture to your program or application. Then you have something called as list box, where you can add a list of things. So maybe you have a application which is for some clothes, so you have a list of things in that, shirts, pants, t-shirts, jackets, whatever. And then adding items at runtime, that is what list box is mostly used for. Then you have, in the list box you also have deleting items from the list box, so you want to remove something, add something new, those things there. And then something called as combo box control, right? So combo box is used to show list of various items, different items. Okay, so if you want to add a combo box, then you can add a combo box to add different items in the same list, right? That's one thing that we can do. And then we have something called as radio button control and checkbox control. Now radio button and button, so there are two things, there's button and radio button. Radio button is used to select a particular option, if you might have seen in some websites. And then you also have something called as checkbox. So checkbox or checked list box, so you have a checkbox in which you can select multiple things at same time. Radio button, you can only select one thing at a time. Checkbox, you can select multiple things at a time. So that's one thing you can add to your form, right? So if you add a, let's say, button or checkbox, let's say we will add a checkbox here, right? So we will add 2 to 3 checkboxes. Okay, so let's say checkbox 1, we will try to change the property here on the right side. So because it's for numbers and it is done for addition, let's say we are making a program for addition, multiplication and subtraction. So we can say that user can use these checkboxes to select the different operations they can do, right? So if I go here again in checkbox 2, Again, I'll have to scroll down. Oops. Okay, and in checkbox 3, so we can add one more checkbox maybe. All right, so in checkbox 3 we can say multiply, and checkbox 4 we can say divide. Right, so these can be 4 checkboxes. So when the application opens, user can select any one of these operations or multiple operations, and then again we have to change the code accordingly here. So let's say if he selects, so you will have to create a new event with new conditions, right? You can see 2 conditions here. It is just checking for numeric value. In the next condition, you have to again put else if, and you have to add a statement for checking what are the things that the user has selected here. So if they have selected addition, subtraction, then you have to make changes here accordingly, and you have to perform both the operations. So you can just add a line here which will be, okay, so instead of sum, what I can do is diff, and I will have to declare another variable here which will be diff as integer, again equal to 0, because I don't want it to pick up any garbage value, right, random value. So here what we are doing is we are subtracting value of text box 1 and text box 2, and then again you will have to show the output. So you will add another line here which will just have this one change, diff, that's it, right? So now this will show the sum and the difference. Okay, now because you are subtracting the value of this from this, and if the second value is bigger, then you might get the answer in minus, which is okay. And you also might want to put a message just at the starting of the program that please enter first value bigger than the second. So it's up to you completely. Right, now press F5 again. We can see the program running, and let's see if it does what it has to do. So oh, we forgot to change the code. Okay, 1 second. So here it will be the difference, not the sum, right? So always remember to change the statements. Okay, so I'm just going to run it again. Let's say we enter 25 and 15 and do add. The sum is 40, it says, so, and the difference is 10, it says, right? So it's giving us both the output because we have not put the condition yet to check which boxes are ticked in the form. Okay, that is why it is not doing either or, it is just doing everything that is shown here. So it will do addition, subtraction, and if we add code for multiplication and division, it will do that as well. Okay, so till now I hope everyone has understood how we can use the different things. I will explain about picture control box as well, and then you have if then statement. So we have seen if here, if then, if this is true or false, and then you have another condition and true and false, else it will just show this. So we have if then else and if then, two statements that we have seen in the code right now. Then you also have something called as select case statement. So if you want to select a case, let's say for example you have different choices in a program, and it is taking value and comparing the given options. So after the matching of options, it will just execute the statement that is given for that particular thing. Let's say select case expression, and then you give a condition and a statement, and then again a condition, then a statement. So let's say you are saying if the answer is yes, say show this or do this. If the answer is no, do this. Like that, you can change the statements depending upon what the value is. Okay, so we can do that here as well if you want. We can add a condition here that if the sum is more than 10, display some message, so it can display that message. Okay, then there is something called as looping as well. So we will discuss that in the next class, looping. And we have picture control box. So we have do while and loop, and that's the end of the chapter. Okay, so right now what we have seen how to add a box, label, button, how to edit the button code to show the output, and then we have also seen how to add a checkbox, That is one of the things, and the radio button also you can add, so it's completely up to you. So we have seen this. We can also add from here button. So if you search for button, you have a radio button, so you can add radio buttons right here. Okay, so for the radio button, then maybe you can just put, if you are a student or you are working, I'm just putting any random options. It is not necessary that you have to put these options, but these are the options that you can put. So you can select I am a student, and then you can select the options here, and I can add more options for working people, like maybe calculations related to the salary or something like that, right? So we can add more checkboxes on the right side, and again, if we make the changes to the code accordingly, it will do all those things, right? So in deep, yes, if you want to learn what we exactly do in coding, then you might have to join classes somewhere to learn exactly what we have to do, but you can learn the basics, of course, from here. Okay, so that is what the chapter 7 and 8 is all about. I will show you picture control in the next session, and then some other things like you have looping and all, so that we will see in the next session. In this session, what we have on the screen, that is what we have seen: box, text box, label, radio button, checkboxes, and the normal button, and the code for that to show different things or different values. This is what we have learned in this session. Okay, next time we will be finishing off with all the things that are there in chapter 7 and 8, so our syllabus will be done. I hope you understood everything as of now, till here, till what we have learned, and next session then we will see another video. Thank you so much.